I'm the last presenter before break, so I'm going to hopefully make it brief, impactful, and insightful. I'm very excited to be here, not only because this is a great conference, but I'm a native New Yorker that's been transplanted to California for the past 15 years. And coming back to New York is always exciting for me. Brooklyn was not like this when I grew up. It's also the first time Adobe is sponsoring the conference, the Skift Global Forum, and it's also very exciting for us in that front. Before I share some of our thoughts and insights in the travel and hospitality industry, I'd like to share a video with you first. So while we call that video, every experience is a brand experience, and some of that may seem very Minority Report, it's actually happening today. Keyless entry from Starwood, the Coca-Cola Freestyle machine are all happening today in our technology. Now, you may also wonder, what is the Photoshop guy doing up here on stage at a travel conference? So since 2009, I'm actually the Omniture guy because I came from Omniture in 2009 when Adobe acquired the leading web analytics solution. And since 2009, we've been also building out the leading marketing cloud servicing travel and hospitality customers across the globe for many years. Personalization is at the top of everybody's mind. And it's nothing new to travel and hospitality, but up until recently, it's really been reserved for the luxury space. But now, and that's somewhat because of the hampering and the affordability of those technologies and the services behind it, but now because we know so much about the guest, we can, and the tools available to us, this is now becoming much more approachable for customers across the landscape. So I'm going to share with you, we just recently had 2 surveys. We had a mobile survey here this summer, and I'm also going to share some information about a travel marketer survey that we just conducted as well and launched just a few weeks ago. We already heard earlier today, I think the gentleman from Lippincott told us that there's this gap between what marketers are doing or how they feel they're satisfying consumer needs and the gap to what the guest and the traveler is actually receiving in terms of that experience. And we also talk about that gap, and sometimes I call it the personalization gap between marketer and guest and traveler. So in our mobile consumer survey, we surveyed 4,000 consumers in 2015 to understand what they wanted, what they weren't getting, what the likes, preferences, activities were happening in the mobile space. And we know that mobile is huge and very important to the success of our businesses. So what some of the consumers told us what they're doing when it comes to the mobile device and travel, 71% are using the mobile device to check their itinerary. 64% use it to check into their flight, and then 49% use mobile to check into the hotels. So here we're starting to see the view from the consumer. Now we also talked about simplification, and we asked what was important to the consumers. And having a simple, intuitive experience is extremely important. Now you see that we have two groups here. We have the consumers and then we have the mobile elites. We consider a mobile elite someone who chooses and as their primary source or device for transacting, booking, conversion, purchase, whatever that may be, whatever your conversion event may be, that is a mobile elite. So 72% of that mobile elite told us that simplification is satisfaction. Additionally, when we talked about personalization, we also broke those down into some other smaller groups. Millennials and Gen X, over 30% of them said personalization was important to them, which in juxtaposition, when we looked at over 70 and the baby boomers, they were both under 10%. So let's take a look at what's happening with the marketers and what's happening with travel marketing. So transformation, the idea of building a center of excellence around digital marketing is huge, and the digital transformation. We see more and more companies shifting towards that, and we wanted to know, when we surveyed almost 200 travel marketers across the globe, this is an international survey that we just released in the past few weeks, and 43% of them told us that they were building a central integrated function for the transformation. We call that the center of excellence for digital, typically for digital analytics, data, and content. And then we also know that mobile is a huge priority. And we've all heard about the idea or the concept of mobile first and being able to create experiences and content that first work on the mobile device and let that proliferate throughout all other touch points as that guest goes through their journey from pre-booking to being within journey and then post-booking and post-journey. 41% of those 200 marketers told us that they are adopting a mobile-first organization. 63 have allocated experimentation budget for the next 12 months. So into 2016, over 60% of those travel marketers are going to be spending significant dollars out of their budget for the mobile activity across their enterprise. The physical space in travel and hospitality is huge. It's not like retail. Retail, I can go buy something and it can then be delivered to my door through e-commerce. Well, the hotel room, the airline cannot be delivered to my front door. So the physical concept or the physical element of the travel and hospitality industry is hugely important to success and understanding what your guest and your traveler is doing across all of those particular touch points. 38% of the marketers that we spoke to are using digital at physical locations in some way, shape, or form. Beacons, and then we hear about the pilot program. 26% of those marketers that we spoke to have already carried out some form of a pilot program. And when I say have already carried out pilots, that's not that they're not carrying the actual pilots in the plane and carrying them out of the building. They're launching some type of test program for their beacon, their NFC, their GPS programs. Being able to personalize across any touch point and understanding that loyal advocate. We believe very strongly in one of what we feel our advantages are at Adobe, because we have the ability to have data and content in one platform, is that idea of data and content, and that data is still somewhat siloed and across the organization, across different platforms, different areas, CRM, BI, etc. 75% of those marketers told us that they have an analytics strategy. Well, that's not too surprising. 82% are attempting to build what we call the 360 view of the customer, or the holistic view of that customer. I can tell you, with all the customers I work with, I don't see anyone right now that's got the full 360, and the best out there are probably at about somewhere between 280 and 300-degree view of that customer. But when it came to really doing multi-channel analytics and data and content, only 33% are truly multi-channel. And that probably speaks to that Forrester information we saw this morning, where we still have this huge gap between marketer satisfaction, guest and consumer satisfaction in the space. So in closing, and giving you our digital scorecard, 3 takeaways. Continue to think about cross-channel and the truth and the knowledge that your guest is touching your brand online, offline, and there is no true funnel anymore. The funnel has been blown up, and that customer is going on a variety of journeys to get to that point of interest or that purchase point for you. Simplification. Don't do data or technology just for technology's sake. Make sure that it's intuitive and it helps the guest and that consumer get to where they need to get to as quickly and efficiently as possible. And of course, last but not least, and I don't know if I have to, probably don't need to remind everyone in this audience, but mobile is very important. So with that, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you all tonight at the cruise.